Alrighty, we have a three-way switch we're going to replace here. They have some paint on it. It's all kind of yucky looking, so we're going to take it out and we're going to put a nice new one in here. And we'll put a nice new cover on too. And it was not screwed into the wall very tightly either. I always save my screws off of the switches we throw away or we don't need right away because we could use them for cover screws. We'll just shorten them. Okay, so we have our, they did what's called a backstab. So we'll unhook our ground wire here first. So we're going to see which one is the common. So they have the black being used as the common and the red and the white are the two travelers. So we'll just get our wires out of the holes here. So on a three-way switch here in the country I was born in, we use 14 American wire gauge on 15 amps, 12 American wire gauge on 20 amps. Black is live, white is neutral, the bare or the green is the ground. Red and blue are also live colors. However, you may find white live like in a switch loop such as here is a traveler wire or on a 220, 240 volt circuit where the appliance does not require a neutral. So your two brass colored screws are your travelers and your black one is the common or the dark brass it could be. Power goes in this one and goes out the other switch on this common terminal. The two travelers don't make a difference. So now we'll hook up our new three-way switch. So we'll strip our wires back a little bit longer here. Okay, we cut that with the 14, with the 16, so we're going to strip it with our 14 gauge hole. So we'll take a little more off right like this. There's our red, our white, and our black, which is the common wire. Okay, so when you hook a switch up, you always put your wires around the screw, the direction your screw turns. So we'll take our black wire and we'll put it around our common screw because the black one is our common wire. So you put it around the screw the direction your screw turns. Close your loop like this, the direction that the screw turns. And we'll tighten our screw. Make sure we get a nice solid connection and our insulation's not pinched. You always put your wire around the screw the direction the screw turns. Now our white is a traveler wire. Okay, so we'll put our white on our traveler screw here. Again, we'll close our loop the direction our screw turns. Make sure our insulation doesn't get pinched. Now I pull forward a little bit, so when I tighten the screw, and our insulation just goes right up to the, okay, that's a little bit under the screw head, so I'm going to loosen it up here. Now just work it back here a little bit. I'll open it up and redo our loop because our insulation is just getting a little bit under the screw head there, so we'll open our loop, we'll adjust our loop so our wire doesn't get pinched under the terminal. We'll just bring it up, we'll just bring it back a little bit like this, go under our screw, and we'll close at the direction our screw turns. Now our insulation is not under our screw head, so I'll pull it forward a little bit and I'll just tighten it up. And there it is. We have a good connection here. Now we'll bring it around. We'll get our red wire on our other terminal here. They're using red and white for travelers here. So we'll bring our wire up around our direction our screw turns. There it is. And we'll close our loop the direction our screw turns here. And there we go, we got a nice connection. Next we'll hook our ground wire up. I'm going to take my jacket off. Okay, we want to ground our ground wire to the box and connect it to our switch. So we have a sheetrock screw back here, but we don't have a hole that's threaded for our green screw. So we're going to just do our idea with the the sheetrock screw that's back here for this. So we can just unscrew this sheetrock screw here. Sometimes it's just not possible to do it the ideal way with the green screw, so this is our second best choice to bond our ground wire to the box. But I'm going to go to the switch too. So I'll stick a washer on here. Get our ground wire back here around our screw. It's going to go in nice and tight so it'll bond to the box decently. Now we'll reach back here with our needle nose and we'll close this loop and make sure our wire is under the screw head all the way around, which it is. Now this will get our ground wire somewhat bonded to our box. Okay, now we'll get our ground wire up here on our green screw on the light switch. So again, we'll go the direction our screw turns. Alright, now we'll just push our wires back into our box here. We'll shape them so they fold into our box the way we want them to, without stress. And look, make sure screws don't hit the wires. I'm going to get my flashlight and look and make sure we're not hitting any wires with our screws. That was not hitting anything, and that was not hitting anything. Okay, now this is our second 3-volt switch here. It's all painted up and nasty looking. I'll get our bright light on. And our cover is all painted up. See what kind of job they did hooking this up. They didn't do too terribly bad. They didn't make a full loop on the black wire there, so black. Now on this one, we can put our ground screw in here. This box has the hole in the back for this threaded ground screw, so we'll stick it in our hole back in here. I'll cap our wires together to turn our light on here. And I'll take this box off of here so I can get our ground wire around the green screw the way we want it. So yeah, I don't want to pinch the conductors under the screw head there, so I'm going to get our wire around here, bring it around like that, and now we'll tighten it up. And when it happens, push it into the sheetrock a little bit. I'll pull down on it so our copper's under our screw head all the way around. So see how we have our copper under the screw head all the way around and our wires aren't pinched there anywhere. I'll just make sure these screws are nice and tight. And now we can put our box back on. If I do the job, we get it done right. Okay, so now we'll hook our new switch up. So we'll clip our white wire. We'll strip it nice new strip. We use our 14 gauge hole. Make our loop the direction. Now red and white are travelers, so we'll put our white on one of our light colored terminals here. And we'll close it the direction our screw turns. Get nice and snug. And we'll get our red wire over here on our other common terminal. That was all chewed up, so we'll strip it nice and clean again. Strip with our 14 gauge hole. Make our loop the direction our screw turns here. Make sure it's nice and tight. We have a nice connection like this. Now I'll flip it around this way. We'll get our black wire up here on our common terminal. Getting it up over the mangled up wire there. Again, we'll make our loop the direction our screw turns. There we go, we got a nice loop the direction our screw turns. Okay, there we go. So you can tell the common screw. See, that one's black and this one is dark brass. And the other two are the same color on both switches. That's how you can tell the common screw. Okay, so now we'll turn our switch back this way and we'll get our ground wire hooked up. So we'll just get our wire all straightened out so it's not all bent up. Make our loop the direction our screw turns. Make sure it's nice and tight. And now we'll put our device into our box. Okay, so we'll keep our ground wire down at the bottom here. Again, we're going to make sure we don't hit our wires with our screws. Okay, our bottom one's not hitting any wires. Screw's going in hard, so just gotta fight, that's all. Get it nice and centered here. 1, 2, and I'm gonna just look with my light, make sure no wires are being hit with our screws. That one's not hitting anything. That one's not hitting anything. And everything looks good. So that is how to replace 2 3-way switches here in the country I was born in. Peace. Thanks for watching.